Hello and good evening, Cosmic Explorers. Welcome to Friday night. I'm your co-creator, Hillis Pugh, along with our amazing guest co-host.
Megan Del Priora. Hello, family. Hello, Hillis.
I know I didn't set that up right at all.
Oh, it's perfect. And actually, I love the way, because when I was saying my last name, I have this thing today. This is the patron saint of Italy. And I learned a lot about my last name today, Della Priora. So I love the opportunity to put that out there myself today.
I love your last name. It's such a pretty and authoritative last name.
It's beautiful. Apparently, Priory. I went I followed some threads today, and we wind up at Prioress, which is like one of the head nuns, which I didn't know, which is pretty interesting.
I love that. I love that. Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
It's, when we have stories about our names, there's always a story with it. And, people often ask me, what does my name mean? I'm like, because Hillis is Hillis, there's no, but my last name, Pugh, is a Welsh name. So, duh, I'm part Irish anyway. So,
Yeah. Do you know what the word means? Pugh?
the word itself, no, I don't. I haven't dug that deep yet.
Yeah.
But I just go back to what my soul wanted. Was like, we like that name.
Yeah.
For you here, because you probably be the only one with that name on the planet. So anyone who needs to find you can just find you. I mean, how easy is that to be super unique and to be a Hillis instead of like a Michael or a Steve or a Jack,
It's the ultimate cosmic bat call.
Exactly. To step into your vibration. But what I want us to jump into, because I'm really excited for tonight, which is a continuation of the conversation from last week. And if you guys missed it, go back and watch it. So this way, there's no recaps in this one.
Nope. Catch point and roll. We'll see you.
Yep, exactly. And so what I find fascinating is that you and we both watched this video. And it talks about, how people are on their spiritual journey and how they're on their spiritual path and how sometimes they feel like they could be left behind or being caught up in the energy of the trends. And part of that energy of the trends, especially now since it's getting momentum and starting to become legalized, is psilocybin. And part of that being caught up in the trends is knowing what's best for you. And how do you think, because I know you've spent the last, few years really entrenched in that. So what is it that you've seen or witnessed that is helpful for one person or can be harmful for someone else who's on their path of stepping into this energy of trends?
Ooh, God. That's such a big question because, right, I guess the first thing that comes to mind is that it seems for some people stepping in and really personalizing things or trying to do this game of new traditions, new lineage type mood, it seems to work well for them.
Mm-hmm.
For other people, the tradition and grounding, the supportive nature and grounding nature of tradition seems to work really well. So some people might fare a little better with some of the trendy type things or trending, and for others that creates almost like this very static experience in their spirituality where it's tugging a lot, or a lot of the trends tend to, I find, really amplify this like vata, airy, astral, when many people need like the other grounding, earth-based sort of magic of it all. So that's like the first thing that comes to mind, but you could say that about any of the trends breath work might work really well over here, but for this person right now is not necessarily the best way for them to be touching their spirit.
Yeah. No, I get that, and I really appreciate that because we have also too a lot of practitioners who are in this space of the trends. It's like, well, for me to get more clients, I got to do breath work, or for me to get more clients, I got to be this Reiki master, or for me to do. So it's like they are trying to step into what everyone else is doing, so that way they can have their validation. And I think that's what a lot of this comes from too, is for people who are on their path to have validation that what they're doing is right. But ultimately, I think they have to really tune in to really figure out what's right for them, because I know that personally speaking, that I really haven't been on trend. I've always done my own whatever wayward path, whatever it led me to, because, for those who are fans of the show, haven't, you know, 20 plus years ago, I didn't think I was going to be where I am today. I mean, I don't think anyone who was ever on a path to be a healer, because by now I thought I was going to be some sort of famous poet, to be honest. But there have been other plans. Granted, yeah, I still love to write poetry, and it sings to me in a different way, but the purpose of what I do brings much. It's a different kind of joy to allow for that transformation of others, and I know that you too have been on this path too of really understanding what it is that's best for you to be of service.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And where I am now in my journey, or how I view myself on this path, like I don't view myself as a healer, although I hear that enough. I view myself as an oracle, as a seer. Like I don't do anything but read divine information and bring it to people so that they can do what they will with it. Um, and that's very different than when I started. Like where I am now in this path, my abilities, how I show up is completely different than what I thought it would be when it first started. And so there's an enormous amount of space. And I think that being loose in these things is really important as well. We often hear people come in and I'm called to serve. I was told to serve. And what I usually say is like, well, follow your path because it's probably going to shift. And as your abilities and, the unique cosmic and genetic and cellular imprint of your spirit and your soul's going to emerge as you do the blooming and the blossoming of the lotus there, and it's going to change what you think.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, like who you think you are, what you think you are is all going to morph and shift. And so not being too rigid in what we want to see happen, or even being too rigid, right? You said validation, like who we want to validate. Ultimately, that's a dangerous game to play because yes, validation is beautiful. It means so much to me when my combo teacher tells me that she sees me. And also, um, who are we validating? Are we validating self? Are we validating ego? Are we validating our heart? Are we validating the
The
divine?
universe,
There's
yeah.
room for that question.
I know. What's fascinating with all of this is that in the space of trends, it creates this in between space of separation. Of okay, well, if I do this, I'm going to become super enlightened, and if I do this, I'm going to become one with my soul. If I do this, it's going to be the ultimate thing that I need to break through. And people do this, and sometimes when they experience it, it's almost like a letdown because they had this great expectation of that didn't happen. Why didn't it happen for me? And so,
Yeah.
because it may have not been right for you.
Well, I think that's part of the danger with trendiness, particularly within the 3D sphere of spirituality, is that our spirits and our spirituality is, I think, or I speculate, supposed to be eternal, and trends are not eternal. And so immediately there's separation there. And so, how can that not come forward as you bring a message that's rooted in an algorithm? Sometimes people are only throwing rose retreats because the algorithm likes it right now, and because a bunch of people like it right now, right? But like, that's not a reflection possibly of your work, your magic, your true force.
Yeah, I like that you said that because, on social media, I kid you not, have at least once a day, and I'm not on social media that much, so this just goes to tell you how the algorithm of the world works. I see at least 3 posts and or sponsored ads about Sanunga. And
Yeah.
before that, it was the rap pay, and I'm like, why am I seeing all these ads about Sanunga? And it almost breaks my heart a little bit because I'm not, saying that there's nothing wrong with the promotion of it. I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong of the uh, being exposed to it. But what I'm identifying with is that the meaning of it, to understand the true history of it, because with medicine in general, especially when it comes to plant medicine that is revered, that is honored, and that is in ceremony or a sacred space, there's always a history of it. There's a lesson that comes with it. And the reason why the Mayans, the ancestors, the Toltecs, everyone has taken these sacraments, these medicines. And since we're talking about Sanunga wasn't really in some settings wasn't typically used as a medicine. It was used for them to hunt, to see, and so then there were moments of when, in the moments of ceremonial rites of passage, yes, it was used in ceremonial rites of passage, but it was more frequently used as a medicine to assist them for their survival.
Yes.
So there's all these aspects, and I know you have a lot more wisdom about that.
Well, yeah, and so combo, same with combo, right? Like, yes,
Yeah.
combo has physical benefits, and combo is used for what they call panema, dark, dense, and negative energies. But combo is a hunter's medicine. It increases your stamina. It balances your appetite. And so when they were out hunting, they were able to eat less. It masks your body smell. There are these survival origins like you're talking about. And maybe sometimes when we leave out some of those origins, whether it be Sananga, whether it be Rape, whether it be Kambo, maybe we're missing a piece of the lesson that can come in working with them. Where am I missing the sight, the vision of a warrior on a hunt? What am I hunting for
Mhm.
in life right now, right? There's a
Mhm.
little key that can even empower the way we work with that. So when the algorithm of Instagram just all of a sudden starts putting Sananga on everybody's radar, and maybe they're not held properly in the space, or even being imbued with the information that could help them pinpoint an intention with working with it, maybe we're missing some keys there.
Yeah. Actually, I learned something new tonight. I did not know that Campbell was also used as a hunter's medicine because of the story that I remember about the guy who in his tribe took ayahuasca and he had the vision of the tree frog and was told that he has to use this tree frog to save his village. And that's the story I remember. And I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, it makes perfect sense because I remember when I first started my dieta 4 months ago, and shortly into it, I did a mushroom journey. And it makes sense because I believe that I was in the last Yeah, I was actually in the 12th or 13th month of my Cambo. So, I had
Mm.
to, and so it makes sense because there was this hunter energy, that this primal energy that just came alive. And I say, and I was in my agenda. It's like I said I'm on a medicine hunt, and I was hunting and looking and seeing what was in my body and doing this and doing that. So it's like I was hunting to really understand the physical aspect of myself. So that makes a lot of sense what you just said there about the survival of this energy of these medicines. And medicines, especially plant medicines, are built to endure. They are built, they have been created to endure and withstand centuries as they go through this reproduction process to improve and get better with every step.
Oh yeah. One thing that I love about that, like, combo and the hunter, like when I receive combo, I feel it, like, I think this is potentially aligned to what you're saying. I feel it hunting through my body, right? Like, and
Yeah.
of course there we have science that lets us know what's happening there, that's creating that rushing. And but you can feel it moving, searching, where's work that needs to be done and resting. So like it has this mood of hunting through us as well. And it can be a really unusual sensation, but that's one of my favorite sensations of the combo process, is that, woo, where's it gonna
I've
go?
I've not felt that in my combo. I did 4 sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, on my fourth session, anyone who knows or watched Dragon Ball Z can relate to this. So, if anyone knows about Dragon Ball Z, how Goku goes all out Super Saiyan, and he makes that transformation, I tell you, my last round of combo was like that. I was in the forest,
Yeah.
and I screamed to beyond the top of my lungs. I was
Mm,
thriving in so much pain
mm.
from how the medicine was moving through. And just when you think there was nothing left, it's like, oh, found something. And I tell you, I mean, that you could probably hear me for about a good mile away. That's how loud I was.
Mm. Well, that's funny that you and Rebecca have an alignment there. That when I first met her, and not to share, any of her stuff too much, but when I first met her, we were at a combo training, and I'll never forget that whale. She let out this. She got medicine on her and just let it out, and
Yeah.
I've seen that several times. I love that.
Yeah, there's nothing like it, honestly, because it's this. Even though there was a lot of pain, there was also this aspect of enduring. You know that right now in this moment it's painful, but once it's done, it's going to be better. And I think this is what a lot of people who are following the trends of wellness, following the trends of plant medicine, I think this is what they hold on to, is that they hold on to this energy of hope that, yeah, it's going to be better, it's going to be better, it's going to be better. But at the same time, there's sometimes almost like this letdown because it wasn't the hype that it that people made it to be. And I think that aspect of it can be damaging to a lot of people, especially if you're in a community where there's no true foundation for it to rest on.
Well, that's you could link that back to the trend thing, right? Because and this is why, if you look at my social media or you talk to me, like, I try to be very real. I was in Brazil for last year, and I got spanked. I got a cosmic bitch slap, and I needed it. And I wanted to be really honest with people that sometimes what we need is to reach a new depth of self, and that requires us to go into a new shadow that we've not been in, and it doesn't feel great sometimes. But when we're trying to put things out to be appealing and appetizing and trendy, maybe we can sweeten the pot a little bit, and then people show up and have experiences that aren't aligned potentially with the honeypot. And then they're like, something's wrong with me. Why is something wrong with me? Why was that so bad? Or they get home and it feels kind of rough, and they
Yeah.
expected it to just be the thing that made everything better. But they're, the medicines are here to show us ourselves. They're here to
Yeah.
bring us so deeply into ourselves. And it's a rough game in the Western world. We got to deal with a lot more things than most of these indigenous communities that have originated a lot of these medicines do.
Yeah, exactly. And what's coming to my mind as you speak of this, as we having this conversation, is you, and I know you've had many of these just as I have. So, have you ever had a morning after the medicine and you look around your space and think, what the hell did I do? What the hell did I experience? What it's like this like big old realization of what just happened in my life. Everything it looks like a little bit of chaos, but in this chaotic space that was created in the purge of getting well,
Mm-hmm.
you begin to understand that, oh yeah, that's all my shit. I gotta own that. And so it begins to really allow for this new opening. And I think that's a part of what people want is in this newness be to be new, but in the space of being new, there's this messiness that has to you have we have to go through the messiness of this muck, and then from there can emerge that. And I think, well, yeah, think, feel, and know and seeing that, when people, go online and they talk about their medicine journeys and experiences, some of them leave out the messy part.
Oh yeah.
And I think they're setting the expectation of why certain things trend, because, and I'm not sharing a story of a friend of mine, and this was maybe my third or fourth year doing plant medicine. And this was my friend, it was her first year. And, they're going around past Sanunga. And I'm like, do I really want to do it? And by this time, I've done it maybe 3 times by then. I'm like, do I really want to do it? I'm like, okay, fine. And so I did it. So I knew what to expect. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. But then my friend who's never done it, they put it in her eye. And I kid you not, she was kicking and screaming and wailing like a 2-year-old baby. And that's the part that we have to talk about
Yeah.
as a society, as a culture, that yeah, things can get messy, things can be chaotic, but in that you find the organization, you find yourself to bring yourself back to whole. Because there have been, my most recent ceremony, there was a moment where I was blown apart and I had to put myself back together. And that's how it is. And so I feel, enough with the trends. Follow your heart, people.
They're always gonna speak. And this is, sometimes people will come to me, they may have interesting combo. Should I sit? If you ask me if you should sit, I'm gonna say no, because you're gonna know. You're gonna know when it's time. It's gonna
Yes.
talk to you, right? And as I go further into this journey, the medicines are so chatty, the plants are very chatty. And as we go deeper into that cave of the heart, those messages become more and more clear. And then we're able to know by just doing the litmus test of self, like,
Yeah.
Sananga's not for me right now, or Sananga is. And then you don't get caught in experiences where maybe you don't know the power of Sananga. Maybe you don't know that there's about 1 million varying degrees of spiciness, so like you might have one that's real easy, maybe you order one that's real hot, and then you're alone in your house getting tossed with no support because you just went in and it was trendy. But yeah, I think that's a great way to avoid that is self, the
Yeah.
attunement to self and listening to the messages of self.
Yeah. We need I don't know if there's a website out there. Maybe you might know, but there should be a website where people can hire people to sit with them when they do plant medicine, if they're going to
Hmm.
do it in their home. Because I remember one medicine journey where this lady showed up from Brooklyn and she was talking about how she did ayahuasca at home in her house. And I'm like, you did what? Where? It's like, yeah, I just ordered it online and they sent it to me. And I'm like,
Mm-mm.
what?
Big no.
And and the next day she was like, this was completely different. It wasn't like when I did it at home. I'm like, well, what do you expect?
Well, this is, oh boy, I'm such a
Yeah, yeah,
I'm such a Virgo, and the crone shows the goddess shows up for me in the form of the crone. So deep inside of me is a kind of particular old medicine woman, right? And this
yeah,
is why we don't do things like this until we have a certain level of experience. And this is why you go back, like it's the shaman or the leader who took the medicine and then relayed the messages because
yeah.
they know that space. They know how to compose themselves in it. They know how to lead you. They know how, if you do sit and you are
Navigate.
drinking medicine with them and you start to go too far, how to blow sopla, whether that be tobacco or Florida water, on you to immediately bring you down. And when we
Yeah,
approach them by ourselves in an ungrounded manner, maybe not yet fully in our ability to do that for self, that can become a little dangerous.
yeah. And so, which is why, when I started doing my dates, I was like, am I okay to do this on my own? And the answer came, and I kept asking. The answer was like, yes, you can do this on your own. You've been sitting with medicine for all this time. You know how to navigate this space.
Yeah.
And so it's oh and bottom line here, people, we can sit here all night and talk about the trends and the dangers of following the trends or the rewards of following your path. But ultimately the decisions is yours and what you choose to do and how you choose to follow, because there's no right or wrong here. It's just really allowing the space for you to set expectations of what path you choose. Whether if it's, I'm going to follow the trends and see what's going to happen, or I'm just going to remain centered in myself and see what shows up for me, what comes to me, as you call it, to you.
Hmm.
That's the beauty of
Ultimately,
that.
if you follow the threads, even though I may have opinions or you may have opinions or we all have our unique opinions, if you rest in spirit and truth, then you understand the perfection of our predicaments, whether that be our individual or the earthly or the universal. So, if you follow a trend and it doesn't go as planned, ultimately, I have faith in spirit and these medicines. So that may have been what you needed. But I do, right? But I would like to think that responsible approaches help mitigate tumultuous waters as much as
Oh yeah,
possible, because
oh
we're
yeah.
usually trying to escape tumultuous waters, or arm ourselves with better swimming skills. Trying to curtail having to get those cosmic slaps as much as possible can be useful.
I love that. And with that being said, it wouldn't be Friday night without the tune up. And so, as we prepare ourselves to move into this space that is ever flowing for us, the space that is opened up for us, and my friend decided that he wanted to be a part of the show tonight. And so, this is my beautiful Labradorite who had accompanied me in the journey when I received my quartz crystal dragon skull. And so the energies matched and mirrored to the wizardry of Merlin and other masterful beings, and the doorway that has been opened through this, because the meaning of labradorite, if you guys don't know, is of the mastery of self, how to really move into self mastery. And that is ultimately what tonight's talk was about, is really showing up and really moving into the space of self mastery, knowing how to master yourself by looking here first and allowing the guidance of the many teachers, everything from the plants to the elements to the beings, to guide you on your path, to have them illuminated, to be. And I just want to take this time also to give a special head nod to my crew who has showed up here. So Nicole, thank you for your presence this evening. So thank you for that. And Angela, thank you for your presence as well. And so it's just really amazing. And thank you all for watching, for being here as we allow for this divinity of who we are to be recognized, and allow ourselves to expand into the newness that is ever emerging as we ascend, not just in our bodies and spaces, but also the whole galaxy, the whole Milky Way is literally in the space of ascension as we are moving into the higher frequencies of the galaxy, in this space that has been prepared ever so elegantly for us to uh, be more than what was once conceived in the thoughts and minds of humanity. Turning to the first mother and having the first mother guide us on her way, and learning and understanding and nurturing us with this beautiful energy. And this is what we are returning to, the energy of the first mother, followed as the first father follows in her steps. And so just remember to honor that energy with everything that you do in every direction that you go, and know that uh, there is always the mother and the father in every plant, in every action, everything that we do. So just remember that as we move into this beautiful energy that has been set and guided for us this evening. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, just taking a nice big deep breath and let it go. And allow for these beautiful energies and entities that surround you in your daily life, seen and unseen, known and unknown, to guide you back to the center of your being, to guide you back to your heart, in the space of self mastery, the space of self understanding, the space of self knowing, knowing that here in our heart, in the center of our being, we welcome you, we welcome them in this beautiful emerald light beaming from above down through our chakra system, illuminating us on the path of warmth and unconditional love, allowing the door of our hearts to be open to the energy of self mastery with this illuminated emerald light, this crystalline light of the earth, of the sky, and allow this energy to dance in your heart, to sing to you, to assist you, and anchor this energy in. Allow this energy to be anchored in your actions, in your thoughts, in your emotions. Allow you to be free from the judgment of self and the judgment of others. Because with the energy of unconditional love, there is no judgment. There is only sovereignty and freedom. The freedom to be who you are and what you choose to be in any given moment, in any given time. Because to be human is to be connected to the shape-shifting reality of self, shape-shifting energies, emotions, attitudes, anything that governs who you are. But in the moment, it comes that you are the master of that moment, you're the master of that energy. You are in a space of complete awareness and connection. Because there's no matter the vision of this planet, of this earth, we are all working in harmony, all masters of self, all energies and oneness of self, as we for the space of mastery, that understanding of our sovereignty and what it truly means. As the close of your heart open to receive this gift, know that the gift is infinite and is in great abundance to you. Just like something as we deep to receive. Allow this energy to be anchored and sealed in your heart space, a space of unconditional love. That is for you. Take another deep breath, open your eyes, where you are, to feel the heart, feel the love that's infinitely present for you.
I can feel your breath a lot.
Oh, thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
They're always so powerful, though.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's, with my days, I'm doing that as well. So, the mysteries, and along with the mysteries, they become realities, they become truth. Remember, the other ones, the truth is here. It's not a mystery. There's no mysteries that need to be solved. It's just a level of awareness that we speak to. We speak to their existence. And the reason all why it's a mystery is we forgot how to live in our awareness. We forgot how to live in our truth. And now is the time for us to remember our truth. Doesn't matter what star system you come from. Doesn't matter what home you come from. Doesn't matter what civilization you were a part of. It matters. Because it's all evolution, it's all changing. What matters is here. And what we prescribe to. That's your personal truth.
So conditioned to know here, or like knowing here is the real sauce.
Yeah.
And it's we have to read the book and stuff. We got to cram. This is already bursting with truthfulness.
Yeah. And that's based on coherence. But the message of magic has been created. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Until next time, everyone. And that was Miss Rebecka. Don't limit yourself. Create yourself. Be the change. Thanks, everyone. Keep exploring.